Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. If you've been here before, if you haven't, you're especially welcome today. My name is Christiana Davidson. I'm a psychotherapist and a hypnotherapist, and I specialize in all things to do with narcissistic family dysfunction. So basically, if you had a narcissistic parent, or you think you may have, then these videos may resonate with you. Now, the topic today, let's dive straight in here, is all about the narcissistic parent and mental health issues. Now, if you have a narcissistic parent, mental health issues are the height of shameful, I would suggest. And perhaps something that you've experienced growing up. Now, let's unpack this a little bit first and then dive into what's going on here. So, as we know, the narcissistic family system is for want of a more professional word, a bonkers system. The whole thing is flipped upside down. So instead of the child being the center, a child-centered system, we have the parent-centered system where the parent is the center of everything and the child needs to gravitate around the needs of the parent. So in a healthy home, a healthy family, parents provide the emotional needs of the children. They provide for them. But in a narcissistic one, children must not only meet the parents' emotional needs, because they're the center, but also they must manage their own. So it's not just having responsibility to sort of emotionally regulate the parent. They've also got to somehow magically know how to regulate themselves. Because if they don't, it's a real burden on the parent. And of course, in these systems, in these types of families, if the child does, all children do, when the child has big emotional needs, they'll be shamed for things like having tantrums, punished for anger, be told to, go to your room and, get over this, or, go to your room until you're ready to come back and be acceptable. And often, even later in life, as the child matures and into teenage years, times when there is great emotional upheaval and changes, if they do share it with the parent, there might not be that sort of sense of this parent gets me. I have a model here to learn how to manage myself and others and life. Often there might be unhelpful ideas or, sort of blaming others instead of wisdom. So in a healthy family, parents get their own emotional needs met through themselves. They're able to go within and reflect, but also through each other, the husband and wife or the partners. That's where they go to find that sort of soothing that they may need. They may seek professional support. And because of this, then, they're able then to help the children manage their own emotional needs as they grow up, more and more over time. So a good parent needs to have a very good grasp actually, of their own emotional state, what their needs are, and how to healthily meet those. And then to take the actions needed to meet those needs and to heal, perhaps, if there's any area or that's causing emotional upset. In other words, a good parent takes responsibility for their own distress. But in a narcissistic family system, just as the parent doesn't take responsibility for their own emotional needs, they also give responsibility to the child for not only their emotional needs, but also for the child's emotional needs. So what happens here is, and this is where sort of emotions and shame begin to become aligned in the mind of children of narcissistic parents. The adult's emotional immaturity and lack of ability to manage their own emotions then becomes a projection onto the children as a sort of shaming them. So the narcissistic parent doesn't take responsibility and then goes on to shame and reject the child for having big emotional needs or big emotions. And the child comes to learn that there is something wrong with them for having these big needs, for having tantrums, that there's something too much about them. There's something wrong with them, that needing emotional support is burdensome. It's too much, and that anger is shameful. In fact, to have big emotions, big, what shall we call them? Big emotions that are not the ones that everybody likes to have, like anger, sadness, frustration, those sorts of emotions. Those are the ones that are shameful. It's okay if you're happy and, full of joy and all the rest of it. Those emotions are fine, but these emotions, and especially if they're big ones in those areas, make you a problem, and you need to sort yourself out, because this is your problem. You're being the problem here. It's not the parent. Why are you experiencing all this? Why are you expressing yourself in such a disrespectful, selfish manner? And so in this way, it kind of sets up in the child's mind that, oh my goodness, there is something wrong with me. Why am I not normal like my narcissistic parent? Why am I so needy when others aren't? When, of course, actually, the narcissistic parent is the one that is so needy and cannot handle their emotions. So that's the projection there. It really is a child bringing up a child in this system, except this one is a child in an adult's body bringing up a child, and the child believing that this is an adult. So what happens is adult children of narcissistic parents go on to suppress their emotions, understandably, and this later expresses itself in anxiety, depression, panic attacks, so often mental health issues. Well, these are mental health struggles. And for the narcissistic parent, these are so shameful. To suggest that they themselves may have mental health issues, I think is probably one of the greatest slights or personal attacks for a narcissistic parent. I don't know what your experience of this was like. I'm going to offer a few examples here of some of the reactions. Please share in the comments, what was your narcissistic parent's view on mental health issues and therapy and that kind of thing. So usually for the narcissistic parent, because it's so shameful and, to suggest that their false self is somehow has a mental health issue, they usually project out onto others this so-called inadequacy. So you might remember your parents saying something along the lines of, "Oh gosh, such a shame about Mary's son, isn't it? Oh goodness, he's so depressed all the time, and I think he's going to have some medication." Oh my goodness, I don't know. Or the narcissistic parent might say, "Oh yes, I did go to therapy at one point, but I mean, to be perfectly honest, all it was just sitting there talking about myself, and I didn't get anything from it. Okay, thank you. I've gotten along just fine till now. I don't need somebody else to listen to me." Or mental health. Gosh, it's all the rage at the moment, isn't it? People these days, they do them good to just get on with it like we all did. Or people are so fragile these days, aren't they? Gosh, they need help with everything. Or therapists think they know it all and are so much better than everyone else, don't they? Or I don't need anybody to tell me how to live my life, thank you. Gosh, it's nobody else's business. And to think I pay money for that. Oh, no, thank you. Or it's so self-centered, having someone listen to you all day. Gosh, talk about narcissistic. Or they might say something a bit more personal to you. For example, "Gosh, yeah, you were such a sensitive child growing up. Oh, couldn't say boo to a goose without you taking it personally. But you had terrible tantrums. My word. Yeah, you were quite a little misdemanding, you were. Wowee. And it was usually about, you know, what you wanted to wear and what you didn't. Oh my goodness, it was such a battle to get you to do anything you were told. Or, yeah, you've always been such a deep thinker. You've always had a bit of a sad look about you. Is everything okay now? You just look really sad then. Is it all right? So these are just a few examples. You may relate to some of them. But you see, the narcissistic parent must maintain the "I've got it all together" false self appearance. I don't need mental health help. And they must imply rather that perhaps you do, and try desperately then to find a weak area that suggests you don't have it all together, because then they can subtly bring that in and make you doubt yourself, that you're as capable as they are. Um, these parents are narcissistic children. Sorry, these are actually children who turn to bullying and competition and projection in order to emotionally regulate. But the child of the narcissistic parent does not know this and believes that their 100% normal needs and demands emotionally. They should be having tantrums. They should be difficult to get dressed. They should be having, rages and etc. It's not the narcissistic parent who should be having the tantrums, because that's exactly what happens. That their need and their demand for a parent to help them express and process their emotions, despite what the parent has going on, should be number one priority. It shouldn't be a burden. It's for a child to have those needs is not what makes them selfish. It's not what makes them a problem, and it's not what makes them a burden. And likewise, it does not mean they have a mental health issue. It just means they had a parent who was unable to parent. And why? Because the parent was too focused on themselves. The parent was narcissistic. The parent themselves was never given the skills, was never able to emotionally mature. And that is the number one task of the parent in many ways, not only the physical development of the child, but the emotional maturity. Because that is the key skill to healthy adulthood, regardless of what life throws at you. I hope this was helpful. I'm looking forward to reading some of your comments here. And once again, thank you for liking, sharing, and subscribing. And if you'd like to work with me on any of these issues, check out my website, www.delightinyou.com, or you can send me an email. That's Christiana@delightinyou.com, and we can set you up with a free consultation. Thanks, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Bye now.